students, welcome to today's chemistry class. So we have been dealing with the chapter that is classification of elements and the periodicity in properties. So we have arrived at a point wherein we say that the atomic number is a fundamental property for the classification of elements instead of atomic mass. Correct? So we have seen different trials of classification or different ideas given by different scientists for this classification of elements. So let us just recall what we have studied in the previous class. Okay? So first you started with Doberener's triad, wherein he says that the mass of the middle element was found to be the average of the other two elements. Correct? So this is a particular table which Doberener had given, wherein he classified three elements into a group called as triad, and he says in a particular triad the elements will have similar chemical properties. Okay? So here when he takes the mass of the middle element, he found that it was the average of the other two elements. So you have lithium, sodium, potassium, calcium, strontium, barium, chlorine, bromine and iron. Then what was the drawback was that he could only classify 9 elements into the Doberener's triads. Okay, he could only classify 9 elements according to the properties, whereas other than that he couldn't classify the elements. Next comes the Chantotoy's table, wherein he arranges the elements into a cylindrical form of group. Okay, cylindrical table I can tell you. So here also this did not draw much attention. Okay, so this was just ignored from Chantotoy's. Next comes the Newland's law of octaves, wherein he classifies the elements in the increasing order of atomic masses. Correct? So all the scientists till then followed this pattern of arranging the elements, that is increasing order of atomic masses. So he arranged the elements in the increasing order of atomic masses, and then he relates it to the 8 notes of music. That is, when you start from sa, you go with re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. So you start with sa and end up with sa. Same way, the first element and the 8th element had similar properties. So this is what Newland say. Now, if you take from lithium if you start, now you end up with the 8th element, that is sodium. So here he says that lithium and sodium will have similar properties. So in this way, Newland had classified the elements. But what was the problem with this periodic table? The thing is that the classification, that is according to the Newland's law of octaves, whatever his law was there, that was only applicable up to the element, that is calcium. Then after that the law was not applicable to other elements. Why? Because it was, first of all, it was a higher element, like heavier elements which go on, but until calcium it is said to be the lighter element. So this law was only applicable up to calcium. Is this clear? Then we had the Lothar-Meyer's plot of graph. So what does Lothar-Meyer do? During the time of Mendeleev itself, what does Lothar-Meyer do? He does a plot of graph wherein he takes the atomic volume as a parameter, okay, and compares it with atomic mass. Same way, just like he has atomic volume, same way he had taken melting point, same way he had taken boiling point. So with these parameters, he had actually compared it with atomic mass. So what does he find when he does this graph? He actually finds that, if you take the example of sodium, potassium, all these, they stand at the peaks, you see, on the top of the graph. So this means that all those which have similar properties will be standing on the same position. That is, they will have the plot on the similar position in the graph. So this, if they have similar properties, then they will have similar position in the plot of graph. So this was given by Lothar-Meyer, where he compares the physical properties like atomic volume, melting points, boiling points with atomic masses. So this also did not draw much attention, as another genius, that is Mendeleev, who was working really great in the classification of elements. So his table was later considered as a new idea of classification, wherein he arranges the elements in the increasing order of atomic masses itself, but he also takes the formula of the elements. I told you in the last class, he takes the formulas, that is how they will form their oxides, how they will hydrides. So based on formulas, maybe it is H2O, Li2O, Na2O. So they will all have similar formulas, right? So based on this, he had classified the elements into groups as well as rows, horizontal rows. Okay. So how does he name it? Starting from the group 1, 2, 3, 4, like this he names, and then you see this pink colored elements over here. These are the elements which were not identified during Mendeleev's time. Okay. As you know, I told you that he leaves few gaps in the periodic table. Why? Because during his time, that is Mendeleev's time, the elements were not discovered. So what does he do? He doesn't arrange it randomly like what other scientists did. Instead, he leaves few gaps and then he identifies their property. He starts writing in particular charts and all. What would be the mass of it? What would be the density? All those he writes. And then when later these elements were discovered, if the values actually match, okay, they were approximate, I think. So here he leaves gaps in the periodic table. These pink colored elements, they were not identified during Mendeleev's period. So that is one. And also his main criteria to classify the elements was that instead of focusing on atomic masses, okay, what does he do? He starts, focusing on the similarity in properties in a particular group. Group in the sense when you come down. Okay. So when you come down the group, the elements should have similar properties. So let us ignore the idea of atomic masses. So this he does. For example, you spoke about the tellurium and iodine. 127, 126, correct? Here it is given 128. It is, the value is rounded up. So here you see 128, iodine is 127. So here he ignores the idea of atomic masses and instead focuses on the similarity properties. Why does he put here? Because you see here bromine is there, here chlorine, iodine, all these come under the same group. That is, they will have similar properties. So one thing is that he leaves the gaps in the periodic table and also he names them as Eka gallium, Eka aluminium as gallium, Eka boron as scandium, okay, all these. So this was his idea of classification, and also there was wrong order of atomic masses given by Mendeleev. So this is already explained in the last class, just giving you an idea of how the table looks like. Okay, I hope this is clear. So let us just identify the limitations of this Mendeleev's periodic table. So one thing, he says we have to arrange the elements in the increasing order of atomic masses. But what does he do? He ignores the idea of atomic masses and focuses on putting the elements with similar properties in the same group. Okay. So first limitation is that he arranges them in the wrong order of atomic masses. That is one thing. And position of hydrogen was not given properly. See, hydrogen is said to be an element, okay. During that time we had an idea saying that hydrogen can be like alkali metals. They easily give up an electron, like how sodium forms Na plus by using one electron, potassium forms K plus by using one electron. In the same way, hydrogen also forms an ion, that is H plus. It loses one electron, we say. So it had one kind of property with this, that is alkali metals, this group, and also he says that it belonged to the halogens. Okay, halogens in the sense, you see fluorine forms F2 molecule, diatomic, F2, Cl2, Br2, I2, all these are halogens, right? In the same way, hydrogen also, in order to form a gas, it has a formula of H2, just like the halogens. So there was a confusion between placing the hydrogen maybe in the alkali metal group or maybe in the halogen group. So where to place this, they had a confusion between this. So hydrogen, that is position of hydrogen also was not given properly. I hope this is clear. So one is wrong order of atomic masses and position of hydrogen was not given properly. Now the third one, that is position of isotopes, was not given. That is, what do you mean by isotopes? Isotopes are the elements which will have same atomic number, different mass number. Now, for example, if you take carbon, carbon has different isotopes. One is carbon 12, one is carbon 13, carbon 14. These are the isotopes of carbon, right? So, when you talk about isotopes in Mendeleev's periodic table, he focuses focuses on increasing the elements in the, arranging the elements in the increasing order of atomic masses. Now 12, carbon 12 is a mass, carbon 13 is one mass, carbon 14 is one mass. They are different elements, right? So he should have given place for carbon 13, carbon 14 over here. But he had only placed carbon 12 if he focuses on atomic masses. Got it? So here carbon 12 is there, carbon 13 should have come, carbon 14 should have come. No. So position of isotopes were not given if he had to focus on atomic masses. So Mendeleev's periodic law says that the property of element, it all depends on atomic masses. But he left the isotopes and position of isotopes was not given properly if he focuses on atomic masses. So these were the drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table, and this was sorted out by a scientist, that is Henry Moseley, in 1913. What does he do? He passes the X-rays through the elements and then identifies the plot of graph, okay, wherein he takes the frequency of the X-ray. So he takes the frequency as root of mu. I hope you remember the symbol root of mu with the atomic mass first. Okay. Now he compares the Mendeleev's fundamental property, that is atomic mass first, and then when he plots a graph, he does not get a straight line. But when he takes atomic number as a parameter, okay, he gets a straight line with the X-ray pattern, that is frequency of these X-rays emitted of particular elements with their atomic numbers, he actually gets a straight line. So which says that atomic number has a characteristic property with the properties of the elements instead of atomic masses. And then later on, atomic number was considered as a fundamental property for classification of elements. Now, moving further, we will actually study how this atomic number, has an impact on these properties of the elements. Then, Mendeleev's periodic law was converted into modern periodic law. Okay, saying that the properties of the elements are the periodic functions, that is physical and the chemical properties, both the properties of the elements are the periodic functions of what? They are atomic numbers instead of atomic masses. Got the idea? So, the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. Now, when we talk about this periodic functions, it is nothing but the periodicity. That is, after a regular interval of time, if you just see the table, after a regular interval of time or after you go along a period, you see that there is similarity in properties. One element is similar to the other. So, this particular term is said to be periodicity or periodic functions of what? It is all dependent on atomic numbers. Okay. So, till there the trials were done and finally they arrived at the modern periodic table. Now, when we say atomic number, go to your previous classes, you have studied that atomic number is nothing but number of electrons, or that is equal to number of protons. Correct? In a simple manner. Number of electrons or number of protons is nothing but atomic number. Now, in an atom, there are different number of protons, different number of, equal number of electrons, neutrons, correct? They are subdivided into different categories. Now here, when we say atomic number, it can be equal to nuclear charge also, we can say. Nuclear charge or number of electrons or number of protons. All are equal. Now, imagine you have an atom. Inside these you have different shells. We say N is equal to 1, N is equal to 2, or you name it as K, L, M, N shells, correct? Inside an atom. You remember when we draw the concentric circle, we have a diagram. In the Bohr's atomic model, you must have observed in 9th standard. So what do? You name it as N is equal to 1, N is equal to 2. That is first energy level, second energy level, correct? Or you name them as K, L, M, N shells. Inside those shells, you still have subshells or orbitals, we say. That is S, P, D, F, correct? So this is, you should have a basic idea of what is present inside an atom. Okay, so there are different shells and inside them you have different subshells or orbitals. Okay, so the main shells we say K, L, M, N, the subshells S, P, D, F. Okay, now you must be thinking, by the number of electrons present in the particular shells. How do you identify that inside an atom this electron is present in this subshell itself? So based on that you will identify the property where the electron is being placed inside an atom. So based on the position of that particular shell or the orbital, you get to know the property of element, which you will be learning, okay, slowly. So atomic number is nothing but it is number of electrons or protons. Now there is a way in order to denote these electrons, or in order to know where these electrons are present in the particular shell or orbitals, whatever it is. So that method of distribution of electrons into orbitals of an atom is called electronic configuration. This also you must have studied, you must have heard about this word, that is electronic configuration. We write electronic configuration for the elements. So what is it actually? It is nothing but it is a method, or it is a distribution of electrons into particular orbitals of an atom. How do you distribute them? This method is called as electronic configuration, or the distribution is called as electronic configuration. You write 2, 8, 1. Remember, in the first shell you have 2 and the second shell you have 8 electrons. In this way you fill, and that particular distribution is called as electronic configuration. So you have 4 main energy levels, K, L, M, N. Those are the shells, correct? Inside those you have subshells named as S, P, D and F. Okay. So here in particular this S orbital, okay, you have, see, imagine if you have one box, that means you can fill up 2 electrons. Okay, deeply into this concept you will be learning how these electrons are being filled, how they will be placed there. All these we will be studying in upcoming chapters, but for now have an idea that in the S orbital, that is one box, you can fill up 2 electrons. Okay, next you have P orbitals, you have 1, 2, 3 boxes. Okay, 3 positions are there. That means how many you can fill? In one you can fill 2. That means 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6 electrons. Got it? Next you go for D. D subshells contains 5 orbitals. 5 orbitals we say. Okay, 5 orbitals it has. That means it can fill up 10 electrons. Same way F orbital has 7. F subshell has 14. That is 7 orbitals. That means you can fill 14 electrons. Okay, double. Now, or you can also remember 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. So add up 4 and remember the numbers. So how many orbitals you have? That is S, P, D and F. In S you can fill how many electrons? 2 electrons. P 6, D 10, F 14. So this you have an idea. Inside an atom you have shells. Inside those you have subshells. Now subshells are which one? S, P, D, F. So in S how many electrons you can fit in? 2. In P how many? 6. D 10, F 14. Hope it is clear. Please write down when I explain. Please make a note of it, okay, so that you don't get confused later on while writing the electronic configuration. You might get confused. Now, how to write this electronic configuration? Okay, just have a look here. That is, there is a rule called as diagonal rule. Again, how this diagonal rule has come, you will be learning in the next chapter. So here you have the way of writing this electronic configuration. So starting from the first shell, that is 1s. Okay, first shell, that is first energy level. This numbers know, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These mean that they are the energy levels, main energy levels. Okay, 1 in the sense, the first one, n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3. In the same way you have 7 energy levels here. Okay, so first energy level will have one subshell, that is S. Second energy level will have 2 subshells, that is S and P. So 2S and 2P. Then you have 3S, 3P, 3D. So one is added up. Then you have 4S, 4P, 4D, 4F. Now same way you will write 5S also. So 5F. Okay, in the periodic table you have till 5F. That is the maximum. So 5S, 5P, 5D, 5F. Then when you come to 6, that is only till d orbital, that is 6s, 6p, 6d, then you have 7s, 7p. So this is an easier way in order to write the electronic configuration for particular element. So this rule is called as diagonal rule, this way of writing. So how would you write it? Okay. S contains how many electrons? 2. P 6. D 10. F 14. Okay. Now how do you write this? First you start from filling the S, that is first shell, 1s. Okay. First 1s. How many you can fill? 2 electrons. So by filling, you write the numbers on the top. That is 1s2. S can take 2, no? 1s2. After filling 1s, see this arrow is shown downwards. That means you have to start from the top, then come down. Okay, so 1s is done. Now where do you go? You start from the top. You start from the top. That means which shell is present? 2s. Got it? So next you go to 2s. How many you can fill into? 6. I mean, how many you can fill in this s orbital? That is 2 electrons. So 2s2. Filled. Can you fill S3? No. S can take maximum 2 itself. Okay, done. After that, you go to 2p now. 2p. Correct? Once you are done with this row, then you go up again. So you get 2p. So what do you do? P can take how many electrons? 6. So you fill 2p6. Got it? Now after filling 2p6, where you have to come? You have to come down. That is 3s. Correct? So 3s can take how many? 2 electrons. In the same way, you go to 3p, 4s, 3d, 4p, 5s, 4d, 5p, 6s, 4f, 5d, 6p, 7s, 5f, 6d, 7p. So by the end of 7p, you actually complete the periodic table. Okay. So 118 elements we have. So for those 100 elements, we can write the electronic configuration by using these orbitals. Is this clear? How to write this? So you have a diagonal rule. You put the arrows like this and then you can easily write down the electronic configuration. So for now, let us just try writing the electronic configuration for few of the elements. Okay, when I do this, I want you all to write it with me simultaneously, which would help you a lot. Okay, so let us write that. So we have the elements, that is how to classify them according to the electronic configurations. Okay. So as well know, this is a diagonal rule, how it is to be followed. Now let us write for the elements from 1 to 10 first, and then later we will continue. This is very important, children. This is a basic idea for how to identify what is the property of an element. All these will be studying in your higher classes. Okay, and in this year too. So please write it now itself and practice. Okay, so we will try writing it for first 10 elements. First you have the first atomic number. That is hydrogen, correct? So first, number 1 is hydrogen. Then helium. Then lithium. Then beryllium. Boron. Carbon. Nitrogen. Oxygen. Fluorine. Neon. Now here you have helium and neon as the noble gases. Why do we say they are noble gases? Because they will have filled electrons, or the electrons are said to be filled in their shells, correct? So helium and neon are the noble gases. Now let us try writing according to this diagonal rule, okay, the electronic configuration. So the first one you have is hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first element, correct, in the periodic table. So when you start writing this one, you always start putting the electrons into the first shell. Okay? So first shell is which one? 1s. So how will you write the electronic configuration? You write it as 1s. How many of the fill? Atomic number is 1. That means how many electron does it contain? Atomic number is equal to number of electrons. Atomic number is 1 in the sense it has how many electrons? 1 itself. Right? So how do you fill this? 1s in the s subshell. How many electrons? 1. Got it? Okay, easy. 1s1. one electron for the hydrogen. So hydrogen, the electronic configuration is written as 1s1. Done. Next you go with helium. So if you have to fill helium, how many electrons are present? Atomic number is 2. Number of electrons is also 2. So how will you write the electronic configuration helium? You start from filling the first shell. So you start writing it as 1s. How many electrons? 2. Filled. Number of electrons are filled. So they will be in the s orbital. The electrons will be, in order to find the electrons of helium, you get it in the first shell, that too in the s orbital. Got it? Okay, next we shall write for lithium. Lithium, the atomic number is 3. That means it contains how many electrons? 3 electrons. Now how to put them into the electronic configurations? So start from the first shell. You start from 1s2, 2 are filled. Totally how many? 3. Now once the s is filled, where do you go? You come down like this and then again you go up. So 1s2, then you fill it in 2s. How many you have to fill? 2s1. Okay. So we shall write here first. You start from 1s2. 1s2 is filled. Next you go to which shell? 2s. Okay. So how many you have to fill to make it 3? 2 plus 1. Got it? So 1s2, 2s1. 1 plus 2, 3 electrons. So 2 electrons will be in the s orbital. That is in the first shell. Next it will be in the second shell in the s orbital. Got it? Okay. Next one. Beryllium. Beryllium how to write now? S can take how many? 2. Now you can fill in 1s and then also you can fill in 2s2. Got it? So 1s2 and 2s2. 2 plus 2, 4 electrons in beryllium. Next you have boron. Okay. Once you fill 4, let us see after that. 1s2, 2s2. Once you fill 1s2, 2s2, next you go to which shell? Once 2s is done, next you go to 2p. Correct? So you start from 2p. So how will you write here? 2p1. Correct? So 2 plus 2, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. So 5 electrons are being filled for boron. Next you have to write carbon. So again 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Correct? Okay. Now whether p can take only 2 electrons? No. Only s can take 2 electrons. But p can take how many? P can take 6. That means you can fill till the p gets 6 electrons. P orbital gets 6 electrons. That means you start from nitrogen. Nitrogen atomic number is 7. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. You can keep on filling till 6. Okay. Then you have oxygen. 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. Correct. Then you have 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. Correct. Then 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Now p is filled. Correct. You see that all the orbitals are fully filled here. That's why we say that noble gases are stable. Helium is also fully filled in s orbital. Correct. Whereas others they will have 1 electron in the outermost. Correct. So here you see that this p orbital, p orbital has 6 electrons, s orbital has 2. So that particular shell is being filled. In second one you have 2s and 2p. Correct. Okay. So here all the shells are being filled and that's why they are said to be stable. Okay. Whenever it is fully filled or half filled, remember this, half filled also they are said to be stable. The elements are said to be stable. I will tell you later, okay, about these half filled and all. So next, can you write it from 11 to 20? So once you have filled with the noble gas, that is neon. Neon how much? Atomic number is 10. So how did you write it? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Correct? Now you are going to follow after 2p6. So after 2p6, once the p orbitals are being filled, which shell do you go? You come downwards, that is 3s. After filling 3s, where do you go? You come up again, that is 3p. Got it? So here next we go to 3s. Now there is another way, children, a short form of writing this electronic configuration. What we do is that we can actually put them as a group. That is, instead of writing sodium as 1s2, 2 as neon, okay, and then I write it as 3s1. So this is understood that neon has an electronic configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So you have a noble gas. So here how much is it? Neon atomic number is 10 plus 1 from sodium. So this becomes 11 for sodium. So this is also one of the short form of writing the electronic configuration. You can continue it as neon 3s2, neon 3s2 and then continue. Got it? So like that also you can follow, or in this way, the long form. Okay. So here next we will write it for magnesium. Either you can write it as neon, okay, or you can go on. Okay. So I will continue it as neon. Okay. Once the 3s1 is filled, where do you go? How much you can fill in s orbital? You can fill 2 electrons, that means 3s2. So 3s shell is done. Next, where do you go? After 3s, again you have to come up. Correct? So which shell do you fill? 3p. So 3p has to be filled. So neon. Neon is how much? 10. 3s2. This is filled. So 10 plus 2, 12. 1 more. So where do you fill after 3s? That is 3p. So 3p1. Got it? P how many you can fill? 6. So till 6 you can go on. That is neon 3s2 3p2. Correct? I hope you are also writing instead of just looking at the video. So neon 3s2 3p3. Then neon 3s2 3p4. Correct? 4 plus 2 6. 6 plus 10 16. Sulfur 16. Correct? Okay. Neon 3s2 3p5. Then argon. Neon 3s2 3p6. Now it is fully filled again. Argon is a noble gas. Stability. Okay, it is said to be stable. All the shells are being filled. Okay. Here you also see that now if you have to continue with the other elements, you can put argon. Okay, argon as a noble gas and then write down the electronic configurations. Or if you have to write the long form, you start from 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, neon 10 done, 3s2, 3p6. After 3p6, where do you go? To 4s1. So you can write it as 4s1. Okay. Then calcium again, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2. So this is filled. Okay. So here till 20 are done. After you finish 4s, where do you go to write? Next you start with 3d. Okay. Next we will write from 21 to 30 elements we will write. So we will write the electronic configuration for the element with atomic number 21, that is scandium, written as Sc. Okay. Now how to write the electronic configuration for scandium? If you start from 1s, so you start from 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, then 3p6, 4s2 was filled till calcium. Correct? Then now after 4s2, where do you go? After 4s2 you have come down. There is no orbital. Now where do you go? You go to 3d shell. So 3d is being filled from 21. So 3d, D can take how many electrons? So till 10 you can finish. So it comes up to zinc, that is 30. Okay. Zinc is 30. So you can fill D10. So here D1. How much is this? 10. Correct? Neon. Again you have 6 plus 4, 10. 10, 10, 20, 21. Okay. If you have to write the electronic configuration of iron, 26. How will you write? You write it as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2 and then 3d6. Correct? 10, 10 and then 6, 26. Okay. Now if you have to write the short form of this, you write it becomes 30. Understood how to write this electronic configuration? So have an idea till the atomic number 30. I want you to write down neatly till the atomic number 30. Then only you will have a clear picture of how you write the electronic configuration. Now you see the modern periodic table over here. Okay, so this is how the modern periodic table looks like. I hope you have seen it many times. Anyways, now you have 118 elements written together. You see here 118th element over here. Okay, so you have horizontal rows like this. Horizontal rows. How many? You have 7 horizontal rows which are called as periods. Okay, 7 horizontal rows, those are called as periods, and you have vertical columns. Vertical, that is, in mental aids you have studied group in the sense it is downwards. Vertical columns called as group. So how many do you have? You start from 1 to 18. See, before this the scientists used to name it as 1A, 2A, 3A like this, but later on, to avoid confusions, they simply named it as, that is IUPAC, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. They named it as the numbers, that is 1 to 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 18. So 18th group will have noble gases. Okay. Here the last group will have noble gases, and here you have metals, here you have non-metals, in between you have metalloids, the zigzag pattern, and you have D block elements which are also called as transition elements, which I will speak about it in detail. Okay, then you have F block elements which are lanthanides and actinides. I will tell you, do not worry. Now if you see here, the elements, that is starting from the period, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These numbers I told you, when you write the electronic configuration, these are nothing but the main energy shell of the particular element, okay, particular period. Now this particular number also resembles the period number, okay. So if you start from 1s, that means it belongs to the first period. 2s, second period. 3s, third period. 4s, fourth period. 5s, fifth period, okay, like this. So that particular first number determines the period number, or that number is also called as principal quantum number. Now what is this quantum numbers? You will be studying in the next chapter. Okay, which is a very important concept. Now for now, what is principal quantum number? Principal quantum number corresponds to the main energy level, that is n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. Got it? So here you have the main shell number that corresponds to the period number of the periodic table, that is element. See here, if it is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the main energy levels. And that particular energy level is nothing but period number. So how many energy levels we have the elements? For now we have 7 energy levels or 7 periods. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now when you wrote the electronic configuration, you saw that you start from hydrogen, okay, filling up 1s1. Correct? The electronic configuration for hydrogen was 1s1, right? Then when you go to helium, it becomes 2s2. Correct? This is how you have written the electronic configuration. Correct? Then you go to lithium, that becomes 1s2, 2s1. 2s1, you start filling the next shell. Right? Okay. Now you see here, you started from 1s1, you go to 1s2. Actually, if you are filling that 1s2, it should have been here itself, next to hydrogen itself. Correct? 1s1, 1s2, then 1s3, like next to s1. It should have gone like that. But you see that there is a abnormal arrangement of helium and hydrogen here. Okay? As hydrogen is said to be the lightest element and it has only one electron, it is placed in the first group. Okay? And if you talk about helium, it should have come here actually. But if you see the properties of these groups, they are different. Okay? So instead, helium is said to be a noble gas, and that is why it is being placed at the corner. Okay? Only here you have a different kind of arrangement. So remember that starting from 1s1, you have 1s2 in the other end. That is hydrogen and helium. Other than that, no problem. Okay? So 1s2 is being filled. So at the end of the shell, everything is being filled over here. So 1s2 is Then you go to which one? Next you come to 2s1, which is that lithium. Then you go to beryllium. Beryllium is filled as 2s2. So see here, 2s2 is here itself. That is second group. Next you come to boron. That is, after you fill 2s, where do you go? After you fill 2s, you go to 2p1. Correct? Once you fill boron, that is 2s2, you go to 2p1. So 2p1 is being filled the other side. P orbitals are being filled the other side. So you fill up till 2p6, that is neon. 2p6 it is being filled. Okay. So when you identify this, you see that the s block is being filled in the first two groups, usually to the left hand side. Correct? No? To first two groups. Whereas p orbitals are being filled to the right hand side, right corner of the periodic table. Okay. So that is why we say these two are s block elements. First two groups are called s block elements. When you fill up p subshells, you say it as p block elements. From here, that is group 13, we say it as p block elements. Got it? So you fill up till 2p6. Then again you come to 3s1, 3s2. Now 3s2 is being filled, so it is s block. Then you start from 3p1, 3p2 till 3p6. Once you finish 3p, you come to 4s. Then 4s1, 4s2. After you fill 4s2, you go to the next shell, that is 3d. From the diagonal group, 3d is being started filling here. Okay, 3d1, 3d2, 3d3, 3d4, 3d5. So till 10. You wrote it now till 30. Correct? No? So d orbitals were being filled. So you have 10 d block elements in this row. That is middle part of the periodic table is d block elements. Okay? So after you fill 3d10, you start with 4p, 5s, 4d again. Okay, then again you start with 5p, 6s, then. Now there comes something called f block elements. Once you reach 6s2, okay, then you start filling 4f. Just see that diagonal rule, okay. Once you finish 6s, you start filling with 4f, which means that 4f has how many electrons? 14 electrons you can place. That means 14 elements can be placed. But they are not actually placed over here. If they would have fitted this here, the periodic table would have been abnormally long. First of all, we say this is long form of periodic table. Upon that, this would have been very long if you would have fit these 14 elements here. Instead, in order to sort out the disturbance in the periodic table, what they have done, they have placed these 14 elements separately here. Okay, starting from cerium to lutetium. Okay, so here they have filled the 14 elements. Once they finish this 4f14, filling 4f14, then again you start with 5d2, 6s, like that. Okay, then 6p. Then again when you come to actinium, okay, again there is f block elements starting from, that is 5f. 5f is being filled. So 14 elements are being filled. Okay, so this is nothing but actinides basically. If it starts from lanthanum, we say lanthanoids. This block is called as lanthanoids. 4f block. Or we say 4f inner transition elements. These are called as lanthanoids. So if it is starting from actinium, it is called as actinoids. Or they are together called as f block elements, to keep it simple. Understood? So into the left hand side of the periodic table you have s block. To the right hand side you have p block. In the middle you have d block. Inside that is from lanthanum you have, that is lanthanoids, and actinium you have actinoids. So those are called as f block elements. S, P, D, F. Clear? I hope this is clear. So you have S block, D block in between, P block and F block. One is there, one less there, helium. Okay? Okay. So this is how you classify the elements into particular blocks. So 5D, 6D, 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, all these are called as transition, that is D block elements are called as transition series. And 4F, that is lanthanoids was there, no? Lanthanoids, which is lanthanoids over here? That is F block here, lanthanoids. Lanthanoids are called as inner transition series. Actinoids are also called as inner transition series. But the difference is that they start from 4F, whereas the last one starts from 5F. Okay, so this what I've told is about the periods. Okay, now elements in the same vertical group. Now if you see group wise, of hydrogen, okay, you see that the elements start, electronic configuration starts from 1s1. Okay, next when you go to lithium it is 2s1. Next when you go to sodium it is 3s1, 4s1. So in a particular group downwards, you see that they have number of outermost shell, that is electrons, are equal. Okay, and that is why we say in a particular group the elements will be having similar properties. Take this to your mind. If they have same number of electrons in the outermost shell, then they are said to be having similar properties. Okay. So here if you see, second group has 2s2, 3s2, 4s2. So 2 electrons are being filled. Got it? So this is how you classify the elements. Okay. So I hope this sentence is clear to you. That is, in a particular group, that is elements in the same vertical group have similar valence shell. Valence shell in the sense outermost shell configurations, and because of this they will have similar properties. So this is how you write the electronic configuration. 2s1 for lithium. Then you have 3s1 for sodium, potassium, 4s1. So due to this one electron in the outermost shell, they will have similar properties. Okay, that's why we classify them as metals, non-metals, alkali metals. All these we classify based on the outermost configuration. Got it? So can you tell me in a particular period how many elements do you have in the first period? How many elements do you have in the first period? Which are the two elements that are there in the first period? That is hydrogen and helium. So you have 2. You start filling 1s, no? So how many you can take? 2. So 2 elements are there in the periodic table. Next, you have S also, 2s2, then you have 2p also. That means 2 plus 6 from p. How many 6 plus 2? 8 elements are being present in the second period. Got it? Again, if you go to 3s, 3s is there, 3p is there. S can take 2, p can take 6. So 6 plus 2, 8 elements are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next if you go, again 4s is there, 2, 3d, 10, 12, then 6. So you have 18 elements. Okay, so you add up the shells and get to know. So you have 2, 8, 18, 32 elements in the particular periods. Okay, this you will get to know by writing the electronic configuration. So I hope this is clear to you in this class, which is very important. Okay, practice the electronic configurations and just look at the periodic table and have an idea of how they are divided into different blocks. Okay, so thank you children. In the next class we will be moving further into the periodic table topics. Until then, take care.